Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? We are officially back again. Thank you, as always, for continuing to support and listen to us on the show. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka Shifty, with my boy Steven at Steven_Springs. We appreciate you guys continuing to listen, whether it's this show, the quick slants, the spaces, and we've also started to see more people follow us. We don't have as many of the people saying that, oh, we're end up going to get fined or sued and stuff like that. So we appreciate you guys. And as always, none of this is financial advice. Before we dive into anything, I'm going to show this to Steven, and then I'm going to talk about it just so we can have a conversation, because in the cryptocurrency and NFT world, this was probably the biggest story of like the past week. And I want to know Steven's thoughts. So it's going to be the first, what the fuck or fire. So this was the artwork that came out.
Are we doing that now?
Only this one, because I'm going to talk about it. But what are your thoughts?
It looks like this was designed by Post Malone. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say fire.
Okay.
Like, so, am I wrong though? It looks like it was designed by Post Malone. Like that first one. That first one.
Oh yeah. So 2 reasons for this, if I can find their Twitter. So it was the most hyped mint ever in terms of like Solana, which is the main place where I am, and they have over 386,000 followers on Twitter. So like everybody and their grandma was trying to end up getting this. But the big thing about this mint that I wanted to talk to you guys about was people expected this to be similar to like the OK Bears, and the OK Bears went over like 100 Solana. But the big thing is this one focused more on like hype and stuff like that. And when you have 386,000 followers, there's an expectation. So out the gate, they were already selling for 70 Solana, which basically equates out to $3,500. So for the average person, they don't have $3,500 up front just to put on something. Whereas most of the time it's going for like 100, 150, and then it starts to increase that way. But it's been chilling around the 40 to 50 mark. I said that if it ever gets down to 32 Solana, that I'll end up getting into it. But I wanted to start off with that just because that was like the big topic of like everybody wondering what's going to happen with Trippin Apes, people thinking that they were going to get a bag and get rich and stuff like that. Only thing I want to tell everybody is if you miss Trippin Apes, Great Goats is going to be one of those other hype mints that are going to come out. If you guys want to get into that, none of this is financial advice. I will be minting. I did get a spot on the GOAT list. So just take that for what it is worth. The second thing I wanted to end up bringing up, and I want to know Steven. So I'm integrating Steven a lot with these because this time it's going to be real world issues. So the first one is Ukraine and countries around have issued saying that there's a food shortage and a major crisis in Ukraine. We knew that this was probably going to happen, but what are your thoughts when you start to hear things of that nature? Because a food crisis and a shortage doesn't mean like, oh, we can only have 1 meal a day. That shit means like, yo, we could predict we're about to have no goddamn food here for everybody.
Yeah. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, farmers, are they involved? Like where do you get resources at? Like, there's, I don't know if there's, I mean, I'm sure there's obviously answers for it because it's happened before, but like, what are you supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're supposed to ration your foods, like this shouldn't really be happening, No. Like, I feel like it's maybe in like 1925 that can happen, but like 2022, like, I don't care if it's like directly pulled out of the earth or it's made in the lab, my food. Just give me some food,
I care.
It's like it's, you know what I mean? Like, but like at some point, like I'm not wrong. It's like,
yeah,
you just give me my food. But like, I feel like this shouldn't be a problem.
No.
I feel like food shortages shouldn't be an issue, but it is for whatever reason.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. There's so many different reasons for this because there's a food shortage. Everyone knows that like gas prices are continuing to go up and they expect them to continue to move up more. Some countries are issuing that they basically have no more petrol. So that's also going to play a factor. in those countries, like you to have none, there isn't a way for you to just like dig in the dirt and find more. Like if it's gone, it's gone. So that was something else I wanted to bring up. I talked about like increasing gas prices, but I also have to mention the Fed minutes that just came out indicated that there was going to be a rate increase on interest rates. I talk a lot about where I work because we are heavily impacted by this. Yeah, we're heavily impacted by this, and we talk about it a lot. I can never mention exactly everything, but I can give you guys hints as to what happens. And this is something that is going to impact so many different markets in various different ways. The one thing I can say is a lot of people aren't thinking about it, but if you purchase a house within the past 3 to 4 years, your interest rate isn't as high as people that are about to start purchasing houses. So that's something else people need to think about, the economic impact that that's going to be. There's going to be 2 different interest rates. The people that purchased 3 to 4 years, they're probably going to stay in their house longer, which is still going to continue with this whole shortage of houses. Whereas the people that are purchasing right now, first off, also people purchasing their houses right now, when they claim it's a seller's market, you guys are going to be in a similar situation to like the 06, 07, 08 housing crisis that we had. The prices drop. So you purchasing right now, like everybody's buying a house. And I talked to like some vice presidents today saying like, am I worried right now about getting a house? Absolutely not. Because right now, every single realtor out there is able to make money. And I know Steven knows this firsthand because his mother-in-law is in that sector, but she's been in it for a long time. These new people like 20, 25, like, oh yeah, I can sell you a house. Of course you can. I can end up predicting the best stock market out there right now because everything was going up. There's a difference between when everything is going up and you actually have to go out there and figure shit out. So that's kind of the biggest thing.
People are still bidding like 25, 30 grand over list price to get it. Just because like in our neighborhood, you've been in our neighborhood, like there's a lot of like nice houses, but like the houses in our neighborhood, this for sale sign goes up and it's gone in a day.
Yeah,
because people are looking. We live in a nice like halfway point between Baltimore and DC. Won't give out my exact location like Christian does, but like when we were looking for our house now, we put offers in on like 3 or 4 other houses. Obviously, we lost all of them, but you can put in if the house is if the house is 100,000. You can escalate to like 105,000. Imagine half a house like back in the day was like $20,000.
I know.
Like
I know.
A nice like 4,000 square foot house is probably like what, like 20, 30 grand maybe, some like at some point in life. That sucks. But like you say your house is 100 grand, like people, you can escalate to like 105, 110. People were like bidding like 100, they were bidding like if it was 100,000, people were bidding like 125, $130,000. And you're like, what? Like, okay, fine. Like if you have the money to do so, which people have the money to do so, by all means, go ahead and do it. But like, if you're not worried about the return that you're going to get on your house when you go to sell it in 5, 10 years, look at me talking finance. If you go to sell it in like 5, 10 years, like, right. Go clap. Like it's like, you're not gonna get anything. Unless the market just goes absolutely berserk, which it very well could, because who the fuck knows what's going to happen in the next 5, 10 years with everything. But like, that's just like what a lot of people are doing. And like, it's nice for people like us where, we live in a townhouse and we have an end unit, but the interior units are going for, what an end unit went for like a year ago, 2 years ago. So not that we're moving anytime soon. We're here. But like, if we would go to sell our house tomorrow, we know what we could make on it probably.
Exactly.
So it's a crazy market. My mother-in-law's always like getting new listings or like, but they're gone in like, a day or two, like at best. And, I'm always searching Zillow, and even like back home in State College where the housing prices are astronomically different than they are down here, as well as I do down this way. But like, even there, like the housing prices I see some houses that are probably 5 years ago, $100,000 less than what they are now. And it's like, why? Like, it's crazy. But people are like, oh yeah, sign me up for that. Like no one gives a shit. They're just, just writing contracts and, buying houses and shit like that. It's crazy. It's a crazy market. Yeah. I mean, it's always a crazy market for one thing or another, whether it's good or bad, but look at me. Just
that was good,
man. I sound like Christian.
I know, and you brought up State College because I was going to bring up Charlotte, and everyone that knows me knows that that's kind of like my end goal. And I talked to a lot of realtors down there.
That's where the homies are, right?
Yeah, well, that's where the family is, but
the actual homies,
the actual homies.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's
like
fair.
I talked to them, and basically the housing market that is in Maryland and Virginia, a lot of those people are getting priced out in Maryland and Virginia, and they're going to North Carolina and bidding those prices. So the housing market then in North Carolina and South Carolina is moving up to what Virginia is. And that's not how any of this should have been. There was a reason why North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Texas were cheaper. And you dummies going down there and paying this much, bidding up, you guys are messing all of it up. Yes, it's bouncing it out, but then you have to think, the jobs down there, are they going to increase the pay? Probably not. They might end up keeping it the same, but that was the whole benefit of being in those areas. Not going to give out Michael Irvin's. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
Not going to give up Michael Irvin's like street address. I know where he lives, and like I've seen his house. And y'all are gonna.
Whoa. Wait on, like the playmaker Michael Irvin.
Yeah. So when we worked at Sports International, I had to always like talk to them, and they're like, "Yo, like send this to my house." I was like, "Oh shit! Like you want me to send it to your house?"
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
the homie, right?
But go ahead. The real homie, the Hall of Famer homie.
The real homie, yeah, friend of the show. What I say is like job market in a place like where we are, like the DMV in general, it's really solid. Like you have the most amount of options in such like a, I guess, small area compared to like New York and like LA and other places like that where there's millions and tens of millions of people, and like the DMV has a lot of people, but like the job market here is crazy with the government and just like other global companies. But like you go to say college, dude, there is nothing there. No, it's job different. Wise. Yeah, there's nothing there job wise. If you're not working for the university, which might be different now because you can be remote. Like if your company's like, hey, if your company's based in Maryland, we'll say, and you're telling them, hey, I'm moving to say college. Well, first they're gonna ask you where the hell is that at. Secondly,
it will.
No one's gonna know where that's at. So secondly, if you can work remote, like that maybe changes things. But in the grand scheme of it, on the surface, like if you're not working for Penn State University, I don't really know what you're doing there. Like there's other jobs there. Obviously, I'm not saying that working for Penn State is the only thing you can do there, but that's a majority of the job market is working for Penn State or in some sort of healthcare thing in State College. So yeah, it really Charlotte's different because it's becoming a major tech hub on the East Coast, and there's a shit ton of companies down there, much like there is in this area and the Falls Church area and that type of spot. And it just depends on where you go, I guess. But like people always just driving up these housing prices for no reason.
None.
Boost it up for the rest of us who might want to move down there, and we get down there, we're like, oh, okay, well that sucks.
Here.
Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it's the same as here. Why
gotta go more south?
Yeah,
and it's like I'm not going all the way down to that one state that's all the way down there, but I'll do anything else. But the other thing I wanted to bring up before we talk about some shady shit is so Elon Musk and SpaceX, they have something called Starlink, which is with their satellites and stuff. They have over 400,000 subscribers, and it's supposed to be the fastest internet service. So that's the big thing that they're working on. They're also working on like in-flight Wi-Fi with that. But here's the kicker. So they have a base service, and I'm only going to bring up the base service. You can assume what the premium will be. But the base service is $110 a month, and then it's $599 for an upfront cost for the hardware. All I'm going to say is for the premium service, upfront cost of hardware, it is $2,500. Not going to tell you that per month. What are you?
Whoa. Whoa. Man.
And he has 400,000 subscribers already.
Again, pause. Again, if you can do it, fine. You know what? Like if you have the money to do so and you have the means to pay that kind of money and it's not that big of a deal and you want lightning quick, space quick internet service, okay, fine. I'm not gonna be doing it. I'm gonna stick with Fios and their problems and like it shits out every couple of days and I got to restart it and that kind of stuff. And maybe one day, maybe when the podcast makes it big and we start making money, the homies come around, we can start doing that, But like, oh dude, why is everything so expensive?
For
like everything, dude. Everything is so expensive. Not just like that type of stuff, not just like gas and like housing and but just like everything is so expensive for like no reason, really. Like no reason.
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah.
Like I don't get it. I don't understand why like I gotta pay $3 for a gallon of milk.
I know.
That doesn't make any sense. Like it makes me want to become a farmer and just go get my own and like
do it yourself.
Do it that way. Like I went to real quick. So we had family pictures done last week, and we like it was in the middle of nowhere, and like I can't remember where we went to. But it was in the middle of nowhere. It was like a giant farm and like in the middle of nowhere. Like but there was like nothing around, all farms, and I'm like, damn, these people are just living their best life. I'm sure they obviously have connection to the outside world, but like they probably don't use it. Like they're probably not on their phones, and they're probably
doing none of that. No.
Like chickens for the eggs, and they got, okay. Well, all right. Are we good now? We're good. I think.
Good. So
technical glitches, but yeah, like you get it. Like
we had the glitches because Steven brought up us not having Elon Musk type service. So it started doing the glitch so you guys could see what happens with our regular service.
And your camera just like spazzed out for a second, and like you're just breaking up for a second. So as soon as we start talking, they can hear us, bro.
I know they can. As soon as
we start talking about that shit, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna talk shit about us?" Boom. I know. Jeez, that's ridiculous.
So last thing that I want to dive into the NBA. Okay, so for everyone out there that follows me on Twitter, I've been mentioning a lot about you guys can deal with all these expensive NFTs. I'm going to end up doing these different raffles. So how the raffle works, and then I'll get Steven's thoughts, are a lot of it is done in dust. So dust is a currency that if you have a D God or a dead God, I've mentioned those a lot, you can stake them, you can earn like 30 dust a day. And it equates out to one dust equals like $2.65. But everyone knows one dust equals one dust. And then if you have a D God, it's 15 dust per day. And the big thing about that is now they have different raffles. So I'm getting into the raffle aspect because you can end up doing raffles that are like one ticket equals one dust. One ticket is like 3 dust. And I probably for 3 to 4 days have been winning, like probably like $100 here, maybe $100 there. And then today I read something new. I was like, it says if the raffle doesn't have more than 10% entered, then the raffler or the person that created the raffle can end up trying to buy back his entry that he put in, so he can buy back his NFT, aka he can throw a bunch of dust in there and get a bunch of tickets and win it back. And I didn't think nothing of it, so I did a raffle, and I always try and deal with like a minute left. Yes, that's alpha for today. And all of a sudden with 30 seconds left, I see address such and such bought 71 tickets. I was like, what the hell? Then I was like, all right, now that was probably a fluke. That was just some random person. Then another raffle ends. This person put 100 tickets. I'm like, how are you doing this with 30 seconds left? There's no way. I was winning cleanly till this point. So long story short, Steven, you can end up putting a bunch of money into the raffle to get your prize back, and then you can take other people's money.
How's that legal? All I took away from that, everything you just said, all I took away from was one dust equals one dust.
Yep. One dust.
That's all I took away. Dust. And like someone's been scamming you out of some money, and I don't know, something's going on.
Yeah. So that was, I think I can show you guys.
How are you able to take your money back and then take other people's money back?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I think I can show you guys one of them before we move on. Is it this one? No. So there's like a bunch of them I've been doing. So for everyone out there, you can kind of see the different ones I did. But it's probably this one. Because there was one where I was like, how the hell did you put in like 71? Like 46. All of a sudden, I put in like 5. Of course you're going to win if you have 46. Like the percentages are there. Someone puts in 8, 6, 5, 3, and you put 46. Of course. So that's kind of like, huh?
I said, sounds like you're mad.
Yeah, I was a little mad
salty,
at that one.
A little bit salty.
I was like, dang, because this is like another one. 70. You put in 70. The next closest person put in 5. And the person that put in 70 didn't even win. So those are the ones I'm like, I feel really happy about those. But that's the raffle for today. For everyone out there, Doopies with D Guys is coming out in June. And then Great Goats is going to be coming out too. I want to segue into the NBA just for a second. And then we can end up touching on various other sports, but Dallas is up with the most amount of blowouts, and the Golden State Warriors are up 3-1 in the series.
There you go.
But so that was the big thing on that side. And on the other one, the Celtics and Heat are tied 2-2. What are your thoughts on both series outside of them being blowouts every game?
I'll be honest with you. I have every game on in the background, but I cannot, like, I gotta be honest with you, and I hate saying this because of how much I love the NBA. I really haven't like paid that much attention to it because I just like I don't know what it is, and I've been trying to figure it out, and I've honestly been like actively trying to figure out why it is. And I think the obvious answer is that LeBron is not in the playoffs. And I know that they missed the playoffs his first year in LA. They won the second year, and then last year they made the playoffs, but I think everyone knew they were going to lose eventually and not make it far. But like the Nets aren't in the playoffs, so those are two ginormous teams with three of like the top 10 biggest personalities, not just like players, but like biggest personalities, but like four of like the top players in the entire league, two of like the biggest teams in the league. The Nets made the playoffs, but like they got swept. So and like they're just not like just the two biggest. They didn't even care. The two biggest headline teams in the league throughout the entire season, for better or worse, are not in the playoffs anymore. And I know we got a lot of like the young talent, and the NBA goes through this waves of like the fans go through the waves of look at the All NBA first team. There was the oldest player on that team was 27. Like so it's like we're now like currently in like that transition of like, okay, all the young talent is like that's like those are the guys now. Or like we've entered like that next phase. Like sure, LeBron, Durant, Chris Paul, Melo, they're all still in the league, but they're on the way out. For unfortunately, those guys probably have one for some guys probably, or like 3-4 seasons left maybe. So let's go ahead before I go. Let's go ahead and appreciate that while we can before they're done. But like I'll watch it. I watched the Warriors Mavs series a lot more because the Heat Celtics series has been dog shit.
Yeah, like
it's tied right now 17-17, which is like that hasn't happened in any one of those games. I turned it on the other night and it was 18-1. Like, all right, well I'm not watching this game. Like I'm not watching it. Like I think the Heat. I think the Heat were up in that game maybe. Dude, they were up by like 45 at one point. Like I'm out. Yeah. How is this happening in the conference finals?
I know.
How is that fucking happening in the conference finals?
Yeah.
And
they're splitting at home, both of them.
I mean, that it makes for like a longer series, obviously, but I hope like the last now it's a best of 3. So hopefully we get a good final 3 games. I don't. And speaking of the Mavs and Warriors, I don't see that series going 7 like I predicted, but I would like it to go 6. And it get like kind of interesting, it gets to like a 3-2 type of thing, and then Dallas ends up winning back at home, or I don't know where that series would be at if it was 6 games. I think it would be back in Dallas maybe. Yeah. But nonetheless, like I hope it gets at least 6. It doesn't go just 5. But I mean, Luka's killing it. Last night they had everybody who missed a shot in game 3 made like 10x what they missed in game 3. So it's just like I don't know, like are you watching them? Like are you watching the playoffs, or are you actively watching it, or are you like me where you got it all in the background and you're just kind of like you'll listen, and like when you hear, I feel like we all do that, like we all be doing something else, and then you hear the announcer like you can hear the crowd, you can hear the announcer like mention like a 3 or like a big play or whatever, and you can kind of look up and start watching it. But I don't like actively watch it like I probably should.
I haven't been. I think I watch it more on Twitter than anything else. Like I was going to bring up the whole boomerang slingshot that Steph Curry didn't realize he does with his teammates, whereas he'll spin with Klay Thompson and they'll go like 2 different directions. Then he did that with Jordan Poole and they'll go 2 different directions. I'm like, how the hell does this work? And
I'm starting to hate the Warriors again now.
I know.
But I cooled off.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Warriors Mavs series, and the Celtics Heat. I only think I'll watch it if like the Heat go up this game, because my friend's bachelor party is next weekend, so we're going to be in Miami. So our big thing is we're hoping that the Heat can end up winning the series, because we said that we'll go to the finals game if they end up, because they'll have, no matter what, the Heat will be the first two games because they have the best record in the league, basically, with the teams remaining. So it's one of those that I will watch if the Heat win their next game. If the Heat win tonight, I'll watch the next game. But I haven't really been into it. I watched the Celtics series before, like both of those. Love the Bucks series; those were good series. Of course, I watched like Memphis against Minnesota, Memphis against Golden State, and I watched those. But it's been weird when you have a lot of blowouts. It's really different. I think that's just how it's been like the whole NBA season. I haven't watched it as much. I probably watched more college football, not really college basketball, like NFL more than anything else. But it's been such a weird season because you're still trying to figure out what the Lakers are doing. All of Kyrie's situation and now him not being with Nike, it's like, all right, so do you even watch them? Those are two teams everyone thought was going to win. So I just do more betting than I do watching the games.
Of course. I heard that Durant hasn't talked to the front office since they lost to the Celtics, which like, I don't put any stock into that, because I'm sure like that happens all the time. Like they might have like the exit meeting on the way out, like, hey, enjoy your summer. And then we come back and then, but does he need to?
No.
Unless
I know he wants to be in a better
Kyrie gets
situation.
traded, or unless Kyrie gets traded, but like that's like not happening, right?
Yeah.
I would assume that they're not going to trade him.
It would be too much with their cap. The other thing with both of the teams, the Brooklyn Nets and also the Lakers, they put so much money into like the Lakers 3 stars and then the Nets 2 stars that you don't have that much money left over. Whereas if you look back to when the Heat had their big 3, they sacrificed money to allow it. These players all want like max deals. You all can't get max and then just have like little players. You have to be able to sacrifice something and then do it. That's why Tom Brady's been able to win a good amount of championships. He never really took the max. Whereas now he just takes the max off the field and look what he's going to get. So I think that's kind of like the big thing. I do think something has to happen in Brooklyn because KD doesn't like to talk, but you can tell his irritatedness is starting to pick up more with how he is with like announcers, with how he is with reporters. He wasn't always like this. He would get annoyed and like pop off on Twitter, but because Kyrie's such the spotlight, it forces him to talk so much more. And it's like, if he had it his way, he wouldn't be talking to anybody and he would just be chilling and stuff. So that was the big thing there. The other thing I wanted to end up bringing up is the Ezekiel Elliott situation. So I talked to Steven about this. For everyone out there, just a heads up, if you want to skip through, the beginning is crypto, now is NFL and NBA. But for this part, Ezekiel Elliott is going to be the highest paid running back again this year, making like 18, 19 million. And I've heard like Skip and Shannon talk. I've heard like other people talk. What are your thoughts on, one, do you think they should have paid him that contract back then? And two, him still being the highest paid player? I mean, running back.
I don't. Yeah, I think they probably should pay him at the time. Like, I think like the biggest thing with contracts is like, you have no fucking idea what that player is going to do. Like did anyone, like, he started off super hot, right? Like he started off fantastic. He earned that money. He earned the money. It's not like they just gave it to him for shits and giggles. He earned the money. So like, yeah, but guys get injured. They have the off the field shit happen. They have, disagreements with other teammates or coaches or whatever that like hamper them on the field. And, you see that with now the Giants and Saquon Barkley. Like, shit, dude, he's not getting the money that he probably could have got. Like, after his rookie season, everyone was like, oh my God, like, he's going to be the highest paid player in the league, or at least the highest paid running back in the league because of, that season. And it was like, oh, well, if he does that this year, imagine what he's going to do in 2 years and 3 years and, so on down the line. But like, you got to like, yeah, I never have a problem with dudes getting paid that much. Like, I mean, dude, like, I don't know, like, is it if a team has that kind of money and they can do so, and they're building around like a foundational piece, it's worth the risk, right? Yeah. Because you either pay your quarterback that kind of money, or you're paying like one other player that kind of money. Like you got to pay your quarterback. Like your quarterback's got to be taken care of, right? No matter what. And if your quarterback is that franchise guy, unless he's like on a 2-year deal or one of those types of guys, you're usually going to spend that kind of money, that top tier money on your quarterback. But like you spend it on at least on offense, you spend it on one other player, either your left tackle, maybe a wide receiver if he's one of the top 3 players in the league or top receivers in the league, or your running back. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. So if you're going to spend it, like it's worth the risk, because if he pops off and doesn't have any of the other issues, if Ezekiel Elliott keeps going on the path that he was on, shit, dude, they're probably they probably would have a Super Bowl right now.
They might, yeah.
I mean, you have other injuries with like their offensive line and all that kind of shit, but like just generally speaking, of a player like that, like Saquon Barkley would have been paid by now if he didn't tear his ACL, if he didn't have his ankle sprained, whatever. Like, and if he was on that same trajectory, Giants probably would be way better off than, and teams are smart. The manager, the general manager is smart. The people who sign these contracts, who make these contracts, they're not just like, oh, well, let's give him this money, and then we have no other room to bring in XYZ player and anything like that. They load these contracts up. That's what Seattle did with Russell Wilson's contract. They loaded up on the back end so they can bring in XYZ players on the front end of that and still have money to give those players, which is how most teams usually do it. So no, I don't have a problem with him getting the money. Like, someone's got to get it. And if he's your best player or your second best player, or like the other guy that you're going to build around, and most wide receivers don't get that money. So it's either going to be your left tackle or a combination of a couple guys on the offensive line, or your running back after the quarterback's already taken care of. So no, I have no problem with it. That's why I wish the Steelers would have just fucking paid Le'Veon Bell, and we probably would have been in a better position, right?
Yep.
Like they already paid him 3 of the franchise tags, and you're already looking at like $33 million, probably $35 million. Why not pay him another $30 million? You'll be all right. He was like 27. Yeah. Like, just pay him the money, and like, sure, like it's a huge risk because like look how he turned out, but like the reward on that is like you go to likely your conference championship game, you make the playoffs, right? At least with that kind of caliber player, you make the playoffs. Ultimately, the chances are you get far enough where, again, the general managers are smart and they build around that and they leave enough money to give to the, best offensive player, a TJ Watt, or you sign a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick. You can trade for a guy like that. That's why the guys like this, the teams like the Steelers, the Ravens, all those teams, the Pats, they're always in the playoffs because they have smart general managers.
They are intelligent. Yeah.
Like who know how to do that, who know how to structure contracts, who know how to be able to trade for guys like Minka Fitzpatrick, who can keep TJ Watt, and you can keep all those guys and build around that. And now they don't have Ben Roethlisberger's potential contract, so they can go out and sign more guys. Like you draft Kenny Pickett, but you don't have to start him. Why? Because you were able to spend a couple $1 million on a guy like Mitch Trubisky, who, by the way, isn't like, he's not terrible. So like, but I had no problem with the Cowboys giving him that kind of money. I kind of went on a weird Steelers tangent there because I was just pissed about that. But like I have no problem with him getting that kind of money. Go make your paper, dude. Like, by all means, don't be giving like your backup running back $12 million or some shit like that. If you're gonna build around like your quarterback and running back, or quarterback and receiver, then pay him. It's fine. The risk, I don't know if the risk outweighs the reward, but like the reward is potentially a Super Bowl. So like, it's kind of okay.
Yeah. So Steven went on his Steelers tangent. So I'm going to segue into the Washington Commanders. So for everyone out there that knows, the Washington Commanders have so much money. So they ended up purchasing $100 million in land in Dumfries, aka Woodbridge, Virginia, which is around like 200 acres or so. They say that this is speculation because they're looking into a new area for an arena. They showed like different designs. They're looking at Woodbridge / Dumfries. They were looking in Loudoun County, and they were also trying to get back into DC. But the big one so far that's been the focal point has been Woodbridge, because it's in between Richmond and then also like the DC area. What are your thoughts before I say my thoughts?
No. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
I don't really have any thoughts because like I'm not from this area. So if we were talking about like the Steelers or like something along those lines, I probably have a lot of thoughts, but this is your neck of the woods. These are your homies. So like, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. So for starters,
deep breath.
Because I've talked to so many people about this. So to equate it to Steven, where they're going to build like if they did it, the new FedEx Field Commanders Arena, it's the same distance kind of from where we would stay at your cousin's to the stadium. Like it's super close. It's one of those things. And what pisses me off is the difference. There is a shit ton of traffic in Virginia already. And then they want to put it damn near straight off the highway. Oh, by the way, they also want to end up having a mile-long road of like restaurants and stores and stuff. Where the hell are you going to put all this stuff without creating more traffic? Then they said, we're going to have more entrances and exits off the highway. It doesn't goddamn matter. Like you're already creating more roads and HOVs to go all the way down to Fredericksburg, which is around like 30 to 45 minutes from Richmond. So you're going to have all those people coming up here. Northern Virginia is already crazy. You're putting it next to the mall. I had to talk to my brother because they still live down there. And he was like, it's legit like going to be right next to the mall. So the mall is already packed. Then you're going to have this. The housing market, we already talked about, is up. The housing market's going to be up. Then people are just going to damn near like rent out their parking lots and driveways for spots for the game. It is going to be insane. Like my friends were sending me pictures and stuff. And I told people this. You guys think that LA traffic and New York City traffic is bad? I promise you Woodbridge will be up there if they put an arena there. There is no goddamn place unless you make 95 a parking lot for the Commanders. Would it be cool to say I have a team in my hometown? Yes. Would I want it there? Hell no. Most people do not want it there because you don't want a stadium right in your backyard unless you have the space to do it. State College has the space because a lot of those people go to the school, so they have the dorms and stuff. They're going to walk there. These are grown-ass human beings with families and stuff that are going to be like, well, shit, like, where do we park now, Susie? We're going to have it right next to the mall. What do? You're going to use churches as well. Is
it going to be in Loudoun County? Is that what it is?
No, so Loudoun County is kind of like out west. That's where Ashburn is, and they're thinking, do they want it next to the practice facility? I was going to say, this is in Prince William County.
Isn't Loudoun County like the most expensive county in like, correct, or like one of them, like in like the country, not just like this area, but like the entire country?
Yes.
Like I thought Howard County was expensive. No, Loudoun County is
expensive.
Ass expensive, dude.
Yeah, I remember. So when Steven and I used to work back in like football camps back in the day, there was this one player, Chris Thompson, who a lot of you guys know. I would talk to him like at the different Washington when they were the Redskins, their different football camps. And then he told me he was living in an apartment because it was so expensive. If this is a football player that is getting a lot of money, like, yeah, I just got an apartment right near the practice facility. That's telling you a lot. Yes, apartments are nice, but you're buying an apartment in Loudoun County is not a place where like you're going for the sights and scenes. You're going there to go to your job, come back home, work out, sleep. That's really it. So I don't want it to happen, but I've also had my hopes created and destroyed when I was in Virginia Beach for school at ODU, and they said the Kings were going to move to Virginia Beach. That shit never happened. So we'll end up seeing what ends up happening with that. The other thing before we close out things for today, I'm a huge horse racing person, so I was like tuned in for Preakness, like.
Excuse me.
So
what?
So Preakness, I was like tuned in for that. I don't normally just watch.
What? Just because you gamble or what?
No. I had like this weird thing for horses. That's something I want to do down the line, like have a stable and end up having a horse in the races and stuff. And then also, it's like stupid.
We have never talked about this. This is
when are we going to talk about
we talked about like everything under the sun, but we have never talked about your passion for horses.
Yeah,
so we need to discuss this offline. For sure.
So I went to Preakness before COVID happened. We went there and like a bunch of different people were there, like Real Housewives of Potomac people are there, random celebrities were there. But the randomest part about these different horse races and events, if you go in center circle, they just have like rappers that are there, like rapping. It makes no sense because the people that are going to like Preakness, it's not your everyday rap fan. It's people with like stupid money, because to have like a horse, to do the trainers, all that stuff, it's money. Then the people in the stands, you can pay to go to Preakness and not even be able to go outside to where the event is. You have to pay to just be inside. And then we found a way to end up getting outside, so we got to see it. But you're paying for a ticket just to be inside, just to bet and look at TVs, and maybe you might see a horse go by. But I'm saying all that because shout out to early voting, who ended up winning. A lot of people did not expect that to end up happening. So it's interesting to just see what's going to happen at the Belmont Stakes as well, because a lot of people thought Epicenter was going to win. But the other part about this big thing is early voting isn't even going to race in the Belmont Stakes. Reason being, it's going to be 1.5 miles at the Belmont Stakes. And that's the interesting part. All three of the main ones, these are just the main ones that they broadcast. There's tons of horse races that the horses have to participate in throughout the year. But the main one, Belmont Stakes, is the longest. Then you have, of course, the Preakness and the Kentucky Derby. And this is another year that there's going to be no Triple Crown. So we'll see what ends up happening as we go forward. It's just really tough. Like when they say a horse wins a Triple Crown, it's not that easy for the horse to do it. Like it's 3 different lengths. That's kind of like saying, and Usain Bolt end up winning the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, and the 400 all by himself. It's 3 different races that these horses are doing. Meanwhile, you have some of the jockeys, I found out, they don't just ride one horse that day. They ride like 3-4 horses and just be like, all right, we about to get on another one and go. So they get paid pretty interesting money. The trainers get paid stupid money. Then you got just the billionaires who own all the horses themselves do it. So while Steven's been watching golf, I've been like focusing on the horse racing, because that's kind of like my thing. Just seeing like how they had to like soak down the horses like right after the race. You had Hogan at the race, Harbaugh was at the race. So it was cool to end up seeing them there just for that reason alone. But so that was that. As always, we're starting a new section called like, I don't really want to call it Would You Rather. It's more so like, would you do this or would you do that? So this one's an interesting one. So this is, would you prefer to work as a window washer on a building that is 20 to 30 stories high? And keep in mind, a window washer on the outside going up and down, washing the windows. Or would you prefer to work on the front line in the trenches in the Army?
Oh, window washer. I mean, yeah, like, no, 100%. I don't want to do either. Like, I don't want to do either one of those things, because you can easily die doing the window washing. Like, now if I'm just going around to like strip malls and doing that, and like, I don't have to get up on one of those things, which like, I need to know how many people die a year from window washing, because those things, I feel like, not that I see it every year, but you see one of those videos, people like flying, like bouncing off of buildings and like things of that nature. I need to know how they're fastened. I need to know how tight they are, because that seems very dangerous as well. But going over it, like being in the trenches and like, no, getting shot at, no. No way.
I know.
At hard pass, dude. If they called me right now and they're like, hey, dude, we need you to come strap up, I'm like, go fuck yourself. Oh, no way, bro. No way. I'm pulling a Muhammad Ali and just saying, absolutely not. I will move to Canada. You'll never find me again. No way.
Yeah. Nope. So that's what I was thinking. I had a friend back when I was in college. He went to Arizona State and he was in the military. And he told me about a lot of the things. We ended up playing basketball together, but he damn near like had pellets from like bombs hit his shoulder, that he always had to take like different painkillers and stuff like that. The amount of stories he would try to tell me, but I couldn't even understand what he went through. It's ridiculous. My grandfather was a window washer in New York. So I'm like, I'd rather do that. He made it out alive. So dude, I'll take my chances with that.
My grandpa, God rest his soul, God love him, he was a Pearl Harbor survivor. And he was telling me some fucked up stories from that day. And he's telling me stories about other like other, I'm not even call them combat stories, just like military stories. He was telling me stories about that and like, what that led to and like what he had to deal with. And I'm like, no, dude, like, no. Like, I respect the people who want to do that. And like, I have a couple of buddies who chose to do that. And that I don't think they're like, they obviously have to like, go through basic training and the boot camps and like, learn all that stuff in case, that type of thing happens and they get deployed. And my one buddy who I grew up with, he does a lot of like, I don't want to say like I'm not gonna say like artificial intelligence, but like he does a lot of like computer stuff. But like he still like, has to go still do basic training every now and then. Like, I jokingly asked him like, have you shot anybody yet? And the answer is always no, but like, no, dude, no, I'm not built for that. No way, dude. It takes an absolutely like different type of mindset to want to want to actively be like, yeah, sign me up. Like whether it's like your families did it and like you're just keeping like you're just like that's just what and like that's what you do. But my family didn't do that, so that's not what I do. It's not what I know. Like, I'm not doing that. There's no way. Like if Mason gets to that point and he's 18, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna join the military. I'm like, the hell you are, dude. The hell you are. Go. No, absolutely not. Go to your room. That's it. End of conversation. We're not even gonna discuss it. Go to your room. no more TV. Nothing. Go to your room, dude. You're done. I'm not doing this. Not having this conversation with you. No.
That was the same thing my dad said. He would always be like, so I raised you this far to end up saying you want to go in the military. All right, Chris, you and your brothers go upstairs. And that's when it's like, no, I'm absolutely not. If they want to do it, I'll explain it to them and be like, all right, make your own decision. But if they're 15 saying it, go upstairs. 16, like go upstairs.
Like my dad was a firefighter, and it's not like he was a New York City fireman. Like state college is different. You don't have a lot of things going on, but nonetheless, like it's a pretty demanding type of thing. And like there were like, those situations that arose where, burning buildings and like that's literally like you like think about like a firefighter running the burning buildings. Like they literally do that type of thing. And my dad like one day asked me, like, you do want to be a firefighter? I'm like, fuck no. Again, I'm not built for that.
No, like you can't even think about it. You just got to run in.
No, dad. Like, no, I don't even like, I barely like lighting a match and trying to light the candle with it, let alone trying to run to a burning building and like try and save somebody or like put out a fire or like, any type of that shit. Like, absolutely not. Like, good for you. Good for those people for wanting to do so. Good for like people like Jordan. Like you got to be a certain type of crazy to want to go be an NFL player or like pursue that, knowing damn well what it's going to do to you. I'm just not built for that. And I'm perfectly fine admitting that. I'm not built for that. I'm in sales. I'm perfectly fine with that. like I am perfectly fine with that, doing what I got to do and like talking to some crazy customers on the phone every now and then. Like I'm built for like I'm built for being a dad. Like that's like the most extreme thing I got to deal with. Like my kids being sick or like my kids having a bad day. That's all like that's like mentally and like physically and emotionally. That's all I can spare, dude. That's all I got. Like that's it. Like I'm not built for anything else.
Nope.
Police officer, medical, firefighter, like military. No. Fuck no. Nope. Pilots. No. God no. No way, dude. No. Like I'm perfect. Like I said, I'm perfectly okay admitting that. I cannot do that. I gotta know about you if you ever thought you could do something like that. But like, there's no way. You can ask anybody that knows me. Like I feel like I'm pretty like mentally strong, but like that's like a different level of like what you got to get to and what you got to tap into in there. And there's nothing to tap into in there because it's not there.
Yeah, because the military, I'm like, you have to know. All right, as soon as we walk past this line, anything can happen. There's no rethinking it. I remember we had one of my friends when I played soccer. His dad was a firefighter, and they just showed me like his burnt helmet, and I'm thinking, so you had to look at the fire, run in there to save somebody, and come out knowing your helmet's on fire. All right, cool. End the conversation. So, Steven, what you got for everyone?
So I went to Orioles Yankees game with my brother-in-law, who's a big Yankees fan, and that was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. It was a Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. No, Tuesday, I think it was. I don't forget. It doesn't fucking matter. But we sat in the outfield, front row, in the left field bleachers. Which, like, I don't know if you've been to Camden Yards I'm sure you have. but they raised the outfield wall from probably like another 10 feet or so. And you can see where they raised it at. So I've seen like, old clips like 2 years ago where like, if you were sitting in that front row, you could literally bend over and like touch the track. But you can't do that anymore because it's like probably 20 feet or so. And with all the power that the Yankees have, first of all, Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs, which was dope because he fucking crushed those balls.
Yeah.
Like that's just like seeing that in person is another one of those things. Like seeing LeBron play in person, it's like you see it on TV and it goes far, but to hear the sound
that's the big
ball
thing.
makes, and see how gigantic of a human being he is.
Yeah.
Like him and Stanton are just monsters of humans. It's crazy. See how fall, like he hit one dead center, and like as soon as he hits it, you can hear it crack, and it's just like, oh, gone, done. Like, so that was cool too. Like, just live sports is just 10 times better than everything else on TV. So, we were drinking some beers and other things, and like having a good time and whatnot. We got no action our way, but there's like when you go to a baseball game, it's not like a football game where you're just like, or a basketball game where like you're only looking at what's in front of you. Like you're only watching the plays in football. You're only watching the action on the court. Like you don't have time to like look at the people around you, maybe during a timeout or halftime, whatever. But like a baseball game, man, you got plenty of time to sit back, especially if you're in the outfield when like, there's no balls coming at you. Like you do, and especially at the Orioles game when there's nobody there. Like it was like all Yankees fans basically. But like there's so many, just like when you go to the airport, dude, there's so many different kinds of people. Like at these sporting events, like, just like every other sporting event, but baseball games in particular, like I said, you have time to like examine the people. Now, we couldn't examine everybody because we were front row. So I couldn't be like looking around and looking at everybody because that's just like weird. But the guys next to me, to my right, were Yankees fans. So they were cool. They were kind of like me and BJ, really into the game. Me and BJ talked a lot, but like, maybe during inning changes, or like, about the play or like whatever, but it was like a reasonable tone. Like the people around us probably could hear us. That's like cool. Guys next to us, awesome. They barely talked to us, which was even better. Guys next to BJ though, bro, they talked the entire game. Like the entire game. It was a white guy and an Indian guy. And me and BJ determined that the white guy's name was Pete. Not sure about the Indian guy. We didn't want to go too stereotypical, but we called him, his name's Peter, but he goes by Pete at work. That's what we called him. But like we were there for 3 hours and 6 minutes is what the length of the game was. Yeah, that was like pretty for baseball. That's like 3 hours and 6 minutes. That's pretty short. They talked the entire game about everything. So it was kind of cool though because they said they go to a lot of baseball games across the country, but like they weren't Yankees fans or Orioles fans, so they might have just like stumbled upon this game somehow. But bro, they had been drinking before the game because they drank like 3-4 beers during the game. By the end of the game, the Indian dude was just like blank. But like they were talking about all the guys they used to hang out with. Indian guys getting married sometime soon. They were talking about this guy Igor, who Pete knows, the white guy. But the Indian guy doesn't know Igor. Igor seems like a great guy, by the way. Like he's the most loyal guy that the white guy knows. Indian guy wants to meet Igor in person. Invite him to the wedding, which he doesn't know Igor, but he wants to invite him to his wedding, and he wants him to be a groomsman. So he wants white guy to set up the in-person meeting with Indian guy and Igor, so the Indian guy can ask him to come to the wedding and be a groomsman. What? And then Indian guy doesn't like vodka. No, he doesn't like vodka, but he loves rum. So they were ranking like the drinks that they're gonna have at his wedding, bro. I'm telling, and they were talking about all the guys they used to talk to, and like which guy was this guy? How often you talk to this dude? What this guy's doing now, bro? It was, and they were so fucking loud. They would not stop talking the entire game. And then there's a guy behind us, an Orioles fan behind us, who was doing like the "Let's go O's," but the entire game, bro. The entire game. Like I get like the people who do that every now and then, but like, when you do that and like you get like the people next to you doing it, it tails off, and then you might get like the person who started it might get like 1 more, 2 more, like "Let's go O's," and then they stop. No, my guy was gung ho the entire game. Didn't matter if they were batting or not. Let's go O's. And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. And I like that. So that guy was like, those three people pissed us off a lot. And then there was a woman, an old lady. So when was the last time you were at Camden Yards? Like recently?
Like 2 years ago.
Okay, so there's like the lower bowl. For people who don't know, I'm trying to paint a visual. There's like the lower bowl. This is the last part of the story too. There's a
it's
lower
a knockoff
bowl.
Fenway Park.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a dope stadium, by the way, but like, whatever. So there's like the lower bowl, which is pretty big, and then there's like a middle ring, which has this like the boxes in it, right? So and then there's like the luxury boxes, and then there's like a little section beneath or right in front of the boxes in that little section, and then there's like the top upper deck. This old woman, and I have great vision, by the way. These are not glasses. These are like blue screen glasses. Don't let it fool you. I got like great 20/20 vision. Shout out to your boy. So there's a woman that's on the like direct line of the batter's box, right? And little backstory. So I was thinking, like, if a ball comes to us, am I going to catch it? Am I going to catch a home run ball? Like, if it's like up here and I don't have to worry about like dealing with the outfielder, am I going to catch it? Answer was no. Because you see those balls, like the pop flies that go up and like come straight down. Those are like, maybe I'll try and catch it. But those balls that are coming like directly back, no, fuck that. Nope. Those things will break your hand. I don't have time for a broken hand, bro. I don't have like, because then you got to leave the game, go to the hospital. You got to do all that. Like I have no desire to do that. So the answer was no. I saw one ball go to the stands and I was like, no, not catching that.
Yeah.
No fucking idea. So old lady sitting across from us. I can tell she was old. She was sitting there. She was sitting up on, like, she had her legs crossed. She was on her phone. I could see what she was doing. She was like a good distance away. But again, I have great vision, so I could see what she was doing. Bro, there was a line drive hit her directly in the face. Like in the face. Me and BJ saw it. And like when you're at like a game, you like a dunk, or this happened with the Lakers game, like a dunk or like a big hit, you like kind of like, when a car stops, you like brace, you like you smack your boy, like, yo, did you see that? Yeah. Me and BJ did that to each other. We're like, bro, did you see that lady? Bro, direct hit. And it wasn't like a pop fly. The people in front of her were like, whoosh, they try to get out of the way. Ball, she was not looking at whatsoever. She was not paying attention. It hit her. It came up. Like it was a direct line. It wasn't like, down like the third base line or, whatever. Like it was the batter's here and she's up there, boom, right in the face. And the reaction was like instantaneous. She knew right away she was fucked too. She got hit, bro. You could hear it from the other side of the stadium.
Yeah.
She got hit so hard and there was no one around her. She was sitting with the old guy. I looked at some of the pictures I actually had. She was sitting with the old dude, or her husband, I'm assuming, early in the game, but there was no one around her. So she was just chilling, probably scrolling on Facebook, seeing what her nieces or grandkids are doing, whatever. And it, bro, took a bullet to the face. Just a line drive. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Like I've seen people get hit with balls on like
hard. Like they're not soft. They are hard. Oh my God.
And that's just coming at you at probably like 130 miles an hour. You have no time to react. Like, even if you have a glove, that's gonna hurt. Like, and to hit her face, and they I could see the security guard, like, what's he gonna do? He's got probably no medical background. He brings her an ice pack. Look like, bro, come on. She has a fractured face. She needs to go to the hospital. Like she needs to go. And then you can see all the people in like the box are like, oh my God, like, are you like Cindy? Are you okay? No, she's not. I wish I knew how she was doing because I can guarantee you right now, she has a fractured eye socket, a concussion, multiple stitches, broken jaw, probably lost some teeth because she got hit so hard, dude. And like, I kind of felt bad, but like not really, because it's like when you're at a baseball game, unless you're sitting in like the outfield bleachers and you have like that time to like kind of get ready for it, bro, you got to keep your head on a swivel.
You never know where a baseball is going to go at all.
No.
Yeah.
Even if you're in like the upper deck, like that might get to you quick. And this lady was like in like the middle section. So she was like, wasn't like right there, but like close enough, man. You got to look because that shit's going to scream back in your face and crush you and knock you the fuck out. And it did.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I remember, I'll close that story with, so like it was last year, we went to go see Adley Rutschman. He was a minor league prospect, one of the top ones for the Baltimore Orioles. And
the catcher, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the sound that ball makes when it leaves that bat, you knew instantaneously, like, just move. Like, just move your body. Of course, some of the kids are like, oh my gosh, you can't. No, get the hell out the way. Like, just move.
No,
I don't know where it's going. Unless you see that thing going straight, move.
Yeah.
Because the moment it ricochets off, if it goes over that net, it's going straight down. If it goes at a line drive, you hear it when it hits those chairs. So imagine what it's going to do when it hits your face or your hand. Bro. It's over. I'm not going to be excited and give it to the girl next to me or my girl and be like, here you go. No, hell no. My hands are going to hurt. Like, she's not going to care that you just sacrificed and caught the ball. She's going to be like, your ass better have caught it. Thank you. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So there is no superhero because your hand is dead after that.
And the umpire real quick, the home plate umpire got hit in the nuts. And you could hear that. He had a cup on, but I mean, regardless, I don't know about you, but like growing, like I got hit once in the nuts playing Little League. I had a cup on, like that shit still hurts.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that shit still hurts. And he was down for like 5 minutes. You could hear that too. I know it was more so the sound of his cup than like the sound of his balls breaking. But like, bro, the sound that made, I'm like, bro, imagine if like he forgot his cup today and there's no way. Again, there's no way you're paying me to get back in the box. And like, can you want to call the rest of the game? It was like the second inning. He's got 7 more innings to go.
Absolutely not.
I'm thinking about that on every single pitch. My eyes are closed. And I'm just like, strike, ball, strike. There's no way, dude. No way. They're like, all right, you gotta pay me like $10 million probably to get back there and be like, okay, it might happen again. Chances are not likely. That's like that doesn't happen often, but like, no. Nope. No. I'd still rather do that than go overseas and be.
Oh, hell yeah. 1000%. Absolutely. I would sacrifice that any day. My two, I'll close it up with one. Thank you of always for everyone that's been listening in, for everything. The other thing I want to say is, so for this weekend, everyone out there, it's Memorial Day in America. So one of the homies, one of my friends that lives in San Diego, he came over here. So we're probably going to end up like hanging out sometime this weekend. And I'm going to try and get
Christian did not invite me to hang out with the homies.
So ask Steven what he's doing this weekend. I promise you he's doing some family activities. It's Memorial Day weekend. The big activities.
My mom's coming to town. I'm playing golf with BJ and we're doing a cookout. So with the homies. I'm actually going on a golf trip in 2 weeks with the homies. So yeah.
See, you see the activities Steven and I do, but yet I'm the one going with the homies. Too many places and don't invite someone. I didn't even know Steven was doing that.
Bro, you go to Mexico. Like what? Okay, whatever, dude. Sorry.
So last thing I wanted to bring up. So Mike, I'm going to see if we can get him back on the show. Mike was one of our first ghosts. Yep. One of our first guests on the show. He is not with the same crypto company anymore. He switched to working for Panther Protocol. So I'm going to end up trying to reach out to him to see if we can get him back on the show. And then with that being said, that's basically everything. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week, day, wherever you all are in the world. I won't say straight day anymore because I start to realize we do have some people that listen overseas. Oh, I wanted to say thank you to everybody. We had 20 people listen to us just bicker and banter and talk about the NFL draft. So, we got to do it again next year.
Hell yeah. So. That's about 20 more people than I thought we were going to have.
Exactly. I know.
Oh, shit.
So that's everything. We appreciate you all as always. And we out.
Peace.